Hi, Matthew with F-Class Community Channel here, bringing you a tabletop review in response to F-Class Community Channel member Long Range Shooting. Thank you, Long Range Shooting, for your comments and request. I hope this short review of the Sightron S3 scope that I utilize gives you a better understanding to why I chose this scope and how it functions. I'm going to just speak on a few points: mechanical precision, durability, quality of glass, the system and why I chose it, magnification, and the reticle. The current, both my rifle scopes, I have two scopes, so I'm very familiar with the Sightron scopes, is a Sightron S3 10 to 50 by 60 magnification. The reticle that I chose is a fine crosshair for both scopes on my rifles. Why I chose the Sightron scope, and I have to be very honest, is budget. Simply put, this was the largest magnification of scope that is in a competition class that I could purchase. The Nightforce competitions tend to get a little bit more expensive. The SNB Schmidt Bender or the March scopes are in the stratosphere as far as I'm concerned, and unattainable due to my budget. And starting off as an F-class shooter with a budget in mind, building a 223 as my starting rifle on a Stevens Savage Action was in the foremost of my mind. What can get me to the range as quick as I can without having a huge amount of expenditure and get me competing as soon as possible. And the Sightron S3 in this magnification did. I was able to purchase one used from a gentleman out east for approximately $900, and for that value, I couldn't resist, and it was highly recommended by other F-class shooters who have more experience than me, and recommended that this scope would be the right one to start with, and they were correct. In terms of mechanical precision, I've taken this rifle out to 1,000 yards, 8, 9, and 1,000. And all the mid-range in between, shooting locally here at 600 meters and 1,000 in the United States. And what I found was the turrets are extremely trackable. I'm able to get back to zero when I need to. When I go back to short-range testing, I dial it back down to my zero hash marks, and it works consistently. It always brings me back to the initial point of impact in which I sighted my rifle in. It has a side parallax adjustment, turrets, and I won't go into too great of details in terms of all the features. You can read it on Sightron's website. But for me, mechanically, the Sightron scopes tracks tremendously well, and I've not had any issues with the tracking thus far. In terms of durability, I've purchased this scope in particularly approximately 5 years ago, and it's still running very true. I haven't had any issues with it. In terms of tracking, it tracks precisely. Because of my recent OCW testing, I changed out the inserts, and it was 10 minutes to the left. I had needed to turn it an additional 10 minutes to the left, so I need to correct 10 minutes to the right. So within that tracking, I was able to determine and show that it tracked very true left to right. So far, the durability has not been an issue. I've been very pleased with it. It's been very robust. It's taken, a hit there, and that's on a brand new scope. I don't even know how that happened, but it has taken some knocks. Other rifles fall into it, or you bang the scope somehow on the bench or at the range when it's practicing. Stuff happens, but it so far it's proven itself to be very resilient. In terms of the quality glass, I've looked through other top end glass such as March scope and a Nightforce and Schmidt Bender, and I have to say the quality of glass isn't up to a March or a Schmidt Bender, but it definitely can compete with some of the Nightforce scopes that are on market. In terms of clarity and magnification, well, you can't get that anywhere else other than with Sightron, I believe, 10 by 50 by 60. That will gather enough light and give you enough eye relief to fit onto any type of rifle. And for F-class purposes, it tracks more than independently, has more than enough windage to take you out to 1,000 yards. In terms of quality glass, I find that the only thing that bugs me about the glass is when you're at short range and when dust is being kicked up by other shooters, that could cause distortion at short ranges. So you have to be wary when you're looking through the scope. Sometimes when you're practicing or shooting at 100 meters or 100 yards, you're going to run into some distortion from smoke, gunpowder smoke, from dust that's being kicked up from bullets hitting the berm. Those kind of things will actually distort your image. It doesn't, and it's because your eyes trying to focus, the scope is trying to focus into a different range, and basically causes a lot of blurring with your sight picture. Other than that, at longer ranges, I haven't had any issues. You can definitely see mirage in many different levels when you back down on the parallax adjustment. And for the most part, as F-class shooters, you have your parallax adjustment set on your target. However, many times you do have to back out due to mirage, probably down to between the power range of 30 and 40 magnification in order to get a clear sight picture to your target due to heavy mirage that's happening on the rifle range. So in terms of magnification, this is I find the 50 be more than enough magnification for 1,000 yards. Like I said, I usually turn it back down. I don't have it on 50 all the time because you're dealing with a lot of distortion, a little bit of edge distortion towards the outer ring of your sight picture. And you can see online the different types of reticles, but why I chose the fine crosshair is because it's simple, and that's the reticle. And that's one of my points is the reticle is simple. I don't want to goof around with guessing what hash mark I need to use for wind or anything else. I have too many things to deal with in my head already that plays games on my mind in terms of what shooting it is. So there is a MOA reticle on this F-class style scope, and a lot of competitors are using that. But for myself, just for simplicity's sake, and to alleviate my mind from carrying on 100 conversations in terms of, I should use this or that, I stuck with the fine crosshair, and even considered using the target dot. But being so accustomed to a fine crosshair, I purchased a second scope in the fine crosshair. So that's really about it in terms of why I want to speak to, and in terms of the scope. It does come. You can get the sunshade for a few extra dollars. In terms of side parallax adjustment, it is a little stiff at sometimes. Even on my older one, it has broken in a little bit, but it's still there's enough resistance to it. Excuse me. And so far, I have to say I'm very pleased. It's easy to clean with a lens pen, And the hash marks on the side there, don't know if I can zoom in and show you, but it's clear and distinct. I have 20 MOA rails on it, so that's why you see there that it is on 2. So that's what we, there you go, I can focus on that, and there's a second 2 hash mark right there on the turret elevation. At any rate, thank you Long Range Shooting for bringing up this question in terms of doing a little review. I hope this is just gives you a little bit insight. If you have any further questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Also, feel free to like the video and subscribe to my webpage if you like to see more videos. Once again, one new thing about the F-Class community channel is that we have now a Facebook page. So feel free to click, like us, and join in and follow this F-Class journey that we're all on. So thanks again. Again, doing a small review on the Sightron S3 10-250 by 60 Sightron scope. Remember, keep an eye on the flags and tight groups.